G'day guys, Darcy here and welcome to my channel where I talk all about the very best in movies and pop culture. And today we are talking about Christopher Nolan and the possibility of him directing a Bond movie, specifically Bond 26. Now, he is about to have Tenet open up, which is all about a spy, espionage thriller, talk about being suited to the James Bond universe. Now, I want to bring up a recent interview he did a couple of years ago. Now, this is an interview where I think this really goes towards the fact why he should direct a James Bond movie. Let's just listen to what he has to say. In this recent interview he did a couple of years ago, this really goes to the fact that why I believe he should direct Bond 26 or a future Bond movie. He's always been a fan of the films, and he says, "This is definitely the longest period of time I've gone in my life without watching a James Bond film. My love of the spy genre comes from the Bond franchise and the Bond character very specifically. I know about as much as the Bond movies as Alan Partridge does. It's totally in my bones. I don't need to reference the movies and look at them again." But the main part I want to bring up here in this interview is this little paragraph he says he says, "A Bond movie? Definitely. I've spoken to the producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson over the years. I deeply love the character and I'm always excited to see what they do with it. Maybe one day that would work out. You'd have to be needed, if you know what I mean. It has to need reinvention. It has to need you, and they're going along very well." Now, obviously, what he said there, it has to need reinvention. And what a perfect time. The Bond franchise is at a place now that it does need reinvention. You've had Daniel Craig. Of course, we got No Time to Die, which is opening up at the end of the year, but this is Daniel Craig's last James Bond movie. And what a perfect time to need reinvention, because I don't think that he could have directed a Bond movie any sooner. Particularly, Daniel Craig's character has been an established character in that Bond universe, in that Bond franchise. He's pretty much had the grip on how to play that character for a long period of time. And now Nolan could come in with Bond 26 with a completely new and clean slate. That is why, from this interview, what he did a couple of years ago when he was being asked about the possibility of directing a James Bond movie, this is why I think he'd be very much suited to it, because his movies feel like an event. Whether you're going along to Tenet, whether you're going along to Interstellar, Inception, whatever his movies you're a big fan of, or even the Batman films, you know that he can also direct those big franchise stuff like I just referenced with Batman, and he can direct his own stuff. Even when he was directing Batman, he was still going forward back and forth between directing Batman and of course directing things like Inception and Interstellar and things like that. So he can do his own stuff, which he's been known to do recently, and also that big franchise and material. And it'd be really great to sit in the theater and be like, wow, this is directed by Christopher Nolan. His movies feel like an event, and this is why I believe Nolan should direct Bond 26 or even a future James Bond movie in that universe. And I really think he will be directed or suited to Bond 26, because this is a clean slate. He's going to have a new James Bond. It's not like coming on in the previous films with Daniel Craig, where they've already kind of established their rhythm in that particular way, in that particular franchise. He's got a clean slate. If he comes into Bond 26, he's got a completely brand new slate on where we can go with the James Bond films. But I'm going to leave it up to you guys. The question rests. What do you think? Do you think that Christopher Nolan should direct a James Bond movie, should do it with Bond 26 or even a future installment in the franchise? Let me know in the comment section down below. Righto guys, that's it for me on this particular video, talking all about Christopher Nolan and whether he should direct Bond 26. My name is Darcy Oliver. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.